Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Destined Life, a podcast about achieving the life that God has planned for you. Today, we have a special episode. I have my first guest on of the season. I have Miss Sabrina Williams. She is here, and we're going to be talking about a lot here today. I'm not going to get into it yet, but Sabrina, would you like to say hello to everyone and let people know who you are?
Hello, everyone. My name is Sabrina Williams, and I am the creator of the Shine framework. And I'm on a mission to help women, especially Black women, claim and reclaim their value and start shining.
Yes, that is amazing. For those of y'all who have been listening to my podcast for a while, you know that she was on last season. So this is exciting that we're here like a year later, talking again, and she is back with us. So we have some amazing things to, discuss. And before we get into the heart of the episode, we're going to play a little game of Would You Rather. So I'm going to ask you the question, would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button on your life?
Ooh. That's a good question. I want both. Probably a rewind.
Okay, and why?
Because sometimes I do or say things and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that just came out my mouth. Let me take that back. So if I had a rewind button, then I'll be able to just go ahead and take it back.
Yes, I think for me, mine would be a pause button. Many times I say this a lot and I didn't even notice it because when I saw the question, I was like, oh shoot, I always say that. I always say, man, I wish I could just have a week to get everything together and then I'll get back into it. Like I like for the world to stop, many times I'm just like, I just want everyone to stop and I can get my stuff done and then I can go into it. And I kind of wanted that this week. I kind of had that because I was on spring break, but I wasn't feeling the best this week, but I'm feeling better now. So, I think a pause button is definitely something. I know before I probably would have said rewind button, but I think as I've gone on before, it's just like if things happen. I've learned from those things, and I don't know. But I like a pause button or whatever. And I know it's a very common would you rather question, but I feel like over time your answers start to change and you realize what's more like for you, what's more not. So I think mine is a pause button for sure. I think I kind of need that. I wanted another week of like spring break to kind of get everything together, but still got to keep going.
Makes sense to me. That's why I was like, ooh, good one. I want both, but rewind is probably what I need on a lot of mine.
Yeah, you could definitely benefit from both for sure. But I hate it because it's like you can't do it. You got to keep going. That's just weird. That's the weird thing about life. And speaking of keep going, today we're talking about we are both a year in of our things that God has called us to do and being able to inspire others. Right now, you have the Shine community. I have my podcast, and we are here a year later. And we're here talking, and we're going to do basically kind of like a check-in on everything and a check-in on how everything is going, what's the state of everything. But the title of this episode is called When the Spotlight Dims, which is sad. And I know some people don't think of this and they think of just the happy part. They see the glory part, but they don't know the story and what it takes to get there and how it is, a year later after the noise has kind of calmed down. So the first question I want to ask you, and that is, can you give us a year later check-in on the Shine community? How is it going?
So for me, like you said, we talked about a year ago, and that was right in the beginning before I launched my Shine multi-week experience. And Lord, I was a little nervous to get that done, but I'm so happy that I succeeded my goals. I had a number in mind that I wrote out what my goals were and asked God, okay, this is what I want. And he doubled it. And when I went back and looked and saw what he did, I was like, oh my God, you doubled it. And he said, you would have had more, but that's all you asked for. So it was one of those things where I was like, oh my God, it got real and it got scary. So I had my multi-week experience. It was great. And since then, I've been doing some monthly check-in with some of the ladies. So it's still going. It's still going.
Yes, and I'm glad to be able to hear that it's still going, because usually after a couple months, some people have given up and they're like, oh, and even though we may not be selling products or, not really, well, there are some things that you can pay for, y'all motherfucker so a seed to the podcast because I need it. I just had to pay something for it. But sometimes it's like that. But even though we're not, selling stuff or whatever, we still need that help, and we still, can be like, it's still a lot. I feel like it's more that, it takes a lot out of your, financially, mentally, spiritually. It takes a lot. So for us to say we're still going, or we're gonna keep going, and and we're like, this is what God told us to do. We're gonna keep going even if we don't feel like it. So how has the building process been going lately? How's it been going with everything?
So it's been going pretty good. Like you said, when you're going through this process, sometimes you just be like, I'm done. I'm good. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I don't want to do anything else. But for me, I did have to remember my why. So I'm still building. I did slow down a little bit, confession time, but I am still building. I'm actually in the process of creating a website. I am sabrinawilliams.com. And I do want a YouTube channel also, website and YouTube channel. And I did start a Facebook business page, and it's under I am Sabrina Williams. And I'm using it through my LLC RNS Consulting Group. So I'm building, I'm going, I'm moving.
Yes. I think that's really cool. And as you see, I feel like it's just those things that you start adding on, when you start seeing the website, when you start seeing the things kind of come together, it can be exciting. It's like, okay, it's coming together, even though it's taking a whole bunch of work, but it's coming together, and it's very exciting, and it's a lot of work. So how would you say your work ethic has changed since you started? Has it changed, or do you feel like it's the same?
So in some ways, my work ethic is the same, because I have a very strong work ethic. I believe in working hard. And I'm learning how to work smarter, not harder. And one of the things that I do realize is that I have to just keep going. Whether I'm motivated or not, I got to motivate myself and just keep going and be more disciplined. So that's the part that's changing. I'm working on my discipline. Like you say, sometimes you want to just hit a pause button and say, okay, everything stop until I'm ready to move forward. But unfortunately, we don't have that pause button right now. So that's the part that I am working on.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, I kind of thought that it was easier than what it is. Many people, they're like, especially I know for like YouTubers, a lot of people, they'll be like, all they have to do is just, have a camera and that's fine. But then it's like you realize that it takes so much more. It's building, it's marketing, it's a lot of things that over time I'm realizing why they hire these teams to help them. I know for me, it's editing. I don't like editing like that. And also I'm also a bit of a perfectionist, so it just takes forever. But like doing that, and they hire people to do like, the graphic designs. It can take a lot, especially on top of other things that you may have, that you may be doing. So it definitely takes a lot out of you, and you're just like, wow. But you have to keep working, and that work ethic, it has to increase, it has to get better. And that's something I'm definitely working on. So we're going to switch from back then and go to now. So when it comes to now, with your Shine community, is there anything that you kind of missed from the beginning, from when you first started the Shine community?
Well, I'm trying to think, is there anything I really miss? It was really exciting in the beginning. I think it's exciting now, but there was such a big learning curve. And I had to get over my fear of going live, telling people what I'm doing, and understanding that what I'm doing is not for everybody. So for me, I don't necessarily miss that beginning part, because when I think about the beginning part, I think about how terrified I was, how scared I was to move forward and talk to people, because I am an introvert naturally. I'm an introvert. but this requires you to have extrovert tendencies. So I've been channeling my extrovertedness and moving forward. So no, I don't think there's a lot that I missed from the beginning.
I could definitely understand that. I know a lot of people, they say that there were some things in the beginning that they don't, like there were different challenges, different things they thought they had to do. And they were like, oh, I don't have to do that. Or I figured that out. It's not as hard for me. I know for me, when it comes to like trying to upload an episode, I remember my very first episode that I uploaded, and it took me like forever. And I was just like, so like, okay, it takes this. It really don't take all that. It really doesn't. I know it's still going with the editing, and I'm trying to get better and stuff with that, and adding more, and making it more better for the audience to listen to, make it more easier to listen to. But it's just like, it's not a big deal. Calm down. So I think I'm more chill, and I'm more like calm, like how you said, like you're not as nervous, but you're more calm. But then you realize that there are some more things that you have to do. So, you're becoming more aware, and you're just becoming more at ease. And I feel like we're both at this, like, okay, this is what it is. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to accomplish. So when it comes to that, when it comes to after you put out everything, you started this Shine community a year later, would you say the support has changed since you first started?
Yes and no. Yes and no. The support that I got in the very beginning, it was a lot of support because it was new, and people are like, oh, what is Sabrina doing? Let me go out and follow her, see what she's doing, subscribe to the things that she's doing. And then there were times when I feel like some people that I thought would support me supported me somewhat. But then that's when I had to go back and just think about, okay, Sabrina, what are you calling support? Because support is different. It can mean different things to different people. Some people support might be following you, everything you do, listening to what you're saying, commenting on everything that's happening, go in and subscribing to what you have. I know you want people to subscribe to your podcast. Support could be just somebody that's in the background as your cheerleader that's saying, hey, you got it, keep going. So I think what's important is to describe and kind of outline what you're looking for support. What does it mean? Because everybody won't be able to support you in every way. So for me, that's one of the biggest things that I learned through this process is that I have to realize there's certain people will support me certain ways and others won't. Like I might want some testimonials. I might want some people to refer me to other people. So has it changed? Yes and no, because some people that I thought would do testimonials, referrals, or things like that, they didn't do it. But then some people that I had no clue that they were going to do that for me, they did do it. So it was just me learning what the difference was, the different ways that people can support me.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And I would agree with you on the people you would have never thought supported you, because there are people who are supporting me, the listening and sharing that they're not even, some of them aren't even related to me, or just, I didn't even know they really saw me. It was like, oh, I forgot we were even friends on Facebook, or that you followed me, on social media. And those be the people. And you just be like, oh, thank you. It's just kind of cool because you can meet somebody else, I guess. But it's just like, wait, what? I really thought, because there were some people who I really thought they were going to be the ones, and it ended up being somebody totally different. So I think it just kind of opens your eyes to different things. I want to ask this question because this may be, but when it comes to your Shine community, do you feel that there are some people who that may not be supporting you as much, or may not be supporting you at all anymore? Do you think that you should always take it personal?
No. No, you should not. However, I was taking it personal in the beginning. It was like, I just knew this person was going to support me. I just knew this person was going to be there. And that's when I had to take a step back and realize what I'm doing is not for everybody. What you do it's not meant for everybody. So the people that are supposed to be there, God will place them there. And the people that's not supposed to be there, they're not going to be there. And then there's some people that may not be here right now because it's not their time and their place, but over time, God will lead them to you. So that's the whole thing. Is like, okay, don't take it personal. Maybe it's not their time just yet, but eventually they may come around.
And I think you have to look at it from your perspective as well, like other people that I may support, like whether it's music or their podcast or whatever they may have. There are certain people, there are certain YouTubers that I used to be like super like I'm watching them all the time, and it's not that their like content has gone bad or I don't like their content anymore, but it's just like that was for a season of my life where that was needed, but now I've kind of moved on and I don't need that as much. I still support you and I wish you to be great and be able to serve somebody else, but it's just not for me anymore. And then there are just times where it's just like I wanted to support you, but I can't support you in the way that you want. Like, with certain things, like, I know for my sister right now with her group, they're having this praise fest, and they're having this concert where, you have to buy a ticket and stuff. And some people, they're sharing it, but they haven't bought a ticket. And I realized you can't always take it personal, because some people, they're like, I want to go, but I don't have the money to. Especially when there's money involved, that's when the support, that's when you really like, what's going on? Because sometimes it's just like, I can't, but I'll share and I'll let other people know who do have it. But right now I don't, or I can't get there. I'm not, in town or whatever. So, but I think you have to really understand where everybody's at. There's just some people who, what I'm putting out, they may not need that. And you have to understand that, like how you were saying, don't take it personal, but, see what's going on. And then there are times that people will come to you about different things, about, things that you may need to change and stuff. And, just listen to that. So when it comes to your loved ones, what have you learned from the support of your loved ones, those people who are close to you, like friends and family?
How do I answer this? So when it comes to my loved ones, I have some that have been there from the very beginning and still rocking with me now. Mm-hmm. Grateful, totally grateful to you all. You know who you are. Mm-hmm. And then I have some family members that was there in the beginning, but died off, and, they did their own thing. And then there are some family members that just didn't come on at all. And so I really had to go back and realize that it's not personal. What we just said is not personal. It's just that I like the way you said it's a season. For some people, it was a season. At that time in the beginning, okay, this meant a whole lot. But right now, I'm not able to support you like I want to. I'm thinking that they still supporting me, hopefully by praying for me and keeping me uplifted that way. They may not necessarily be purchasing anything that I have or attending any of the events or things that I have, but I'm believing that they're still supporting me that way. And I have to keep it positive, because if I don't keep it positive, I'll go down that negative path, and I'm just not trying to go there. So I think.
Yes, I think that when it comes to support, I realize the support can look different. Support doesn't always look the same for everybody. And that's something you understand, especially when you're starting something yourself. You're doing your own thing, like for the entrepreneurs and the people who are starting new things, you realize the support isn't always, it doesn't always look the same. And there's none that is more, there's some that you're like, okay, this is more helpful, like how you would talk about with the referrals and stuff, and people who are like, writing testimonials and stuff, like, yeah. And then there are other people who are like, I want you to win, but I just, I forgot about it. It's not like, we weren't that close to begin with. So it's like, but it's okay. But it's like, I still want you to win, as always. Do you feel like you have, how do you move? I'm sorry, let me go back up. So when it comes to preparation or whatever for your Shine community, you have Zoom events and you have these gatherings and check-ins, which I have been there and I have attended. How do you feel like you've changed over time to prepare for these different events?
So I have been doing more research when I'm getting ready to prepare for these events, and it's still ever evolving. because I think I'm going to make another change. I've been praying about it and working on that, trying to get exactly what I want it to look like. But I've learned some new tools. It's sort of like what you said in the beginning, when you first start doing something, it's like, oh, it's so hard. But then you realize, oh, I just didn't know what I was doing. So I found some tools that's making it a little bit easier for me to create landing pages and get the information out. So I am ever evolving, ever learning, and I'm on a journey where I want to make sure that I provide the best, because I am a recovering perfectionist. And because I am, it has caused me to not put out content sometime, because I'm like, oh, no, that's not right. It's not enough. I need to add more. But what you have to do is just do it. Done is good enough. And I had to keep reminding myself, done is good enough, because perfection will never happen. So those are the things that I'm just moving forward now, preparing the best I can and doing what I need to do.
Yes, it was well said. I think it's really important for us to understand, what we need to do to be able to prepare to be better, for sure. As we're going on to, we talked about the support and how it goes, is not as strong, it's not as, for some people, they may have gone away, or they're just not, they're not as close anymore. So how do you move past that? How do you stay motivated, even when the support is, getting lower, or you may just be feeling complacent with where you are in your passion? How do you motivate yourself during that time?
I use a multitude of things. The first thing that I have to do is remember my why. Why am I doing this? I truly desire for women, especially Black women, to claim or reclaim our value. Because I do recognize the society sometimes can make us feel like, no, you can't show who you are fully to be accepted. We want you to dumb yourself down. We want you to dim. We want you to be quiet. We want you to do all of this, but that's not okay. So I have to remember that it's all about encouraging women to shine, to show up as their authentic self. And bottom line, if somebody's not respecting you for who you are, then you got to make a decision. And sometimes it's a hard decision on what you're going to do next. I have an affirmation that I have several affirmations, but one of the ones that I use is to remind myself that my tribe is listening for my voice, so I got to keep speaking. It's sort of like where they say the sheep know their shepherd, they know their shepherd's voice. I got people out there that's looking, that needs me, because this is something that God has poured in me. I didn't just decide, ooh, this is what I want to do one day. God has placed this in my life as part of my purpose. And that means that I got to keep moving forward. I got to keep moving forward. And having those little reminders, investing in myself with different things that uplift me and edify me and help me to move forward and become better. These are just some of the things that help me. And then the other thing is, I love me some me. So I had to learn to give myself grace. It may not be what I want it to look like. I may have paused a little bit, but it's okay. I got to just keep moving forward.
Exactly. Love it. So you're saying to stay motivated, to keep moving forward. How do you encourage yourself during that? Because I feel like what you're saying is that sometimes that you don't have other people to tell you that. Sometimes you're not going to always have people in your corner and telling you to keep going, but sometimes it may be very quiet. I know for me, it could be that way. You have to learn how to encourage yourself. How do you do that? And how do you stay motivated during that time when you have no one?
So When I have no one, that's when I get to my quiet spot. And I have to remember what God has assigned me to do. And then I have to remember where I came from. I think I might have shared it on your last podcast, but I had been through so much workplace trauma. I had been through so many people just putting me down, or not necessarily so many, but the right people that I respected, not giving me fully what it was that I felt like I deserved, and making me question my competence. And it got me to the point where I didn't believe in myself. I mean, I'm highly educated, okay? I have an advanced degree, and I have done a whole lot of things in my life, but in my workplace, it had gotten to a point where I was being overlooked. My voice was being shut down. And I got to the point where my self-confidence was gone, completely gone. And I hit my rock bottom. And when I got there, it was not good. And I had that wake-up call. And ever since I've had that wake-up call, now I make sure that I don't get back there again. If I feel myself like, oh, nobody's worried, nobody's around, then I ask myself, okay, why are you feeling this way? What do you need? Now go do it. So I have to keep reminding myself that, it's not about anybody else. It's about you and what God has placed in your life. You have to get up. You have to move, Sabrina, because there is somebody out there that needs to hear what you have to say. So really it's about just keep reminding myself. And then I got some songs that I love. Yeah. I play some music. I might play with my grandbaby. I do things that just bring me joy. And when I get that joy, I'm able to, okay, keep moving forward. There's somebody.
Yeah, I think for me, when it comes to that time, I have to go back to that dark place. Sometimes, like how they say you've been saved so long and you just been good for so long, and you just kind of forget where you come from. And I think that was sometimes that could be me. And I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I'm good. And God's like, like the Holy Spirit has to bring back to your remembrance sometimes where you come from. And those times where I was, up late night crying and just feeling horrible about myself and not confident in who I was. And for me to now be like smiling and talking to people, and, that whole thing is just so different. I'm like, I want other people to be able to experience that. And God would be pushing me so hard to do this and be calling me to do this if no one needed it. If no one needed it, why do it? Why go through all of this, So you have to make sure you remember that. So there's some people who are feeling that way right now. May not have admitted it, out loud or whatever, but they're going through this and they may be feeling uncomfortable. So do you have some homework for them to do? So a Destined Life application that they can go ahead and, start doing so that they can get better during this time? What is your Destined Life application for today?
So yes, I have a couple of homework things for you. One is I want you to celebrate your wins. It is so easy for us to forget to celebrate. For me, I was one of those, I'm working on it. I was one of those people that would say, okay, I need to get all of this done. I would do 80%. And when it was done, instead of me celebrating that 80%, I was just focusing on the 20% of what I didn't do. So I had to learn, you got to celebrate your wins. So I want you, the audience that's out there, to celebrate your wins. Sit down and make a list of everything you've done so far. It could be just that you started. It could be you hosted your first event, your podcast, you went live, you told somebody about your business that you're moving forward with. Maybe you did a YouTube, you created a business name, a website, whatever it is that you have done towards what you're trying to accomplish, write it down and then go back and look, and you'll realize, oh, wait a minute, I've done a whole lot more than I did before. So celebrate those wins, because it's important for us to celebrate. And when you celebrate your wins, that kind of give you that little motivation, like, okay, I did do something. Let me keep moving forward. And then the second thing I want you to do is find your tribe. Find your groups, your podcasts, your volunteer groups, your people, whoever it is, find people that's going to pour goodness into you. Because what all of us do is we're pouring out, we're sharing with other people. We want to uplift other people. So we keep pouring out, pouring out, pouring out. But at some point in time, we got to get something poured back into us, so that we will have something to pour out. So I want you to celebrate your wins. I want you to find that tribe, your group, whoever the people are that will help you remember your greatness and move forward. That's your homework.
I love that. That's amazing. So you're saying that our homework is to celebrate your wins and to find your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm going to be posting this on my social media. You'll see it. And I want you all to do this. And I'm going to do this as well to make sure, and maybe you're already doing it, but make sure, but you can take it to another level and really try to do, because sometimes they think, oh, I'm doing good, I'm fine. And then you really start writing down all the things you've done. And you're like, okay, and I feel like God wants us to see that. God's like, I want you to see your girl. I want you to be able to see where you are, and be able to see how you've grown so much. Because many times we do focus on the negative, like you said, and we end up feeling really, really down and out about it. And it's just like, but we have to keep going and stay positive, celebrate those wins, and get other people around us that are doing the same thing. Learn from others. I'm starting to, I'm listening to other podcasts that I'm inspired by, and it kind of have something to do with my podcast. It kind of has the same, ideas and stuff, and learning from them and learning how they do stuff and taking from that, but still, make sure that I stay who I am. But, you can learn from it and learn from their ways. So I think that's amazing. I think it's great homework, and I pray that you all do it and that you all are blessed by it. After talking about all of this stuff, I want us to, as we all know, this podcast is about being real, and it's about being authentic, and it's about being raw and real. That's how I am. And I will tell you how I'm feeling. I don't care, but I think that's just important. It's very therapeutic to be able to just say it and just, feel comfortable. This is a safe space. So our next segment, for segment 3, is called Confession. And what we're going to do, me and Sabrina, we're going to say something that, we're going to confess how we're feeling, or maybe something that we may have done and experienced. And this can be funny or serious. It doesn't matter, but you all can do this as well at home. You all can comment down below something that you want to confess. So I'm going to have Sabrina go first. What do you want to confess?
What do I want to confess? Nothing. I don't want to confess nothing. Okay, yes. Okay, fine. I want to confess that I wanted to quit. I really wanted to quit. I didn't want to do this. I had this desire. It was like, I want to do this, but I also had fear. So I was allowing that fear, which is false evidence appearing real, to kind of marinate in my mind. So that's why I say that you have to remember your celebration, your joys. You have to do these things, because if you don't, if you still just focus on that negative part, you're gonna be like, I'm quitting. And I had talked to one of the ladies that was in the Shine community, and I was like, girl, this is a whole lot more work than I expected. And I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do this. She was like, no, Sabrina, no, you have to keep going. People need you out here. People need you. I need you. You don't know what God has placed in your life, and you don't know who you're blessing. You don't know who's listening to you. Somebody needs to hear what you're saying. And if you quit, that person may not ever hear what it is that they need to hear. And girl, when I tell you she poured into me and she blessed me, I'm feeling it now, but I'm not going to let it happen. She had tears coming to my eyes because I really wanted to, it was like, I'm not doing anything, because I forget, God said one plant, one water, and another get the increase, and he gets the increase. And I wanted to plant, I want to water, and I want to see the increase right then and there. And I had to remember that my job is to just give the information. It's the recipient's job to receive it and move forward. So yes, I wanted to quit, but he said, God said no. I don't care what nobody say. God said no. He sent me somebody to tell me, it's not your time to quit. You need to keep moving. So that's the biggest thing. That's my confession. I did want to quit, but I'm still here and I'm still moving.
I think that's amazing. And even while you're saying that, I was just thinking about how, like, the devil knows, sometimes the devil believes in us more than we believe in ourselves. The enemies, the people who are against us, and the people who are against the ideas that we are proclaiming and we're, saying aloud, they believe in us more. They know that our words have power. They know the impact we can make. And we don't, and we think, because I know for me, my confession is that I didn't feel like I was qualified. I didn't feel like I was qualified to do this. I'm like, I'm really young, and so they're like, oh, who's this little girl to say something, and be constantly being called that. But I was like, but I mean, if the devil is fighting against me this strong, if he had, if I had to go through all this stuff, that means that there's something great inside of me that I may not even know about. And sometimes we just, I don't know. It's just like sometimes the enemy, they believe in you more. So it's just like, well, Dave, if you keep fighting against me, there must be something that is threatening you and threatening your plan, which is for the devil, which is to steal, kill, and to destroy people's personalities, to destroy dreams and their self-esteem and all this stuff. So I think it's important for us to keep going and understand that if you had that feeling to quit, that means that you're on the path to something greater. That means that something is getting ready to happen. And it kind of reminds me of the song by Jacqueline Carr, which is one of my favorite artists. It was talking about greater is coming, how she was talking about the how we have to go through the beating, the shaking, the pressing, the times where it's hard and it's just super uncomfortable. But I had to go through that in order for me to get to something greater. So sometimes, the enemy, I want to restate that. Sometimes the enemy believes in you more than you believe in yourself. So you have to understand that those times when you feel like you're about to quit, those times when you feel like you're about to give up, those times when you're feeling like not to get, well, we're going to get there because I already talked about it, about getting suicidal or something. That means something great is inside of you that you probably don't even know about. And the devil's like, let me hear if and get her or get him before they figure it out, because I know that they can do something that will attack my plan. So you're very powerful. So anytime you're feeling down and out, it must be, just think about it like, well, that must be something powerful. That must be something great. And that's what helps uplift me. So, yeah.
Yes, I agree with you completely. And sometimes we feel like we're not qualified, but somebody reminded me, God qualifies who he calls. So if he called you to do something, he's going to give you the qualifications. He's going to give you everything that you need. You just got to keep walking by faith. But baby, that walking by faith, it is not easy. It's not easy. We have to remind ourselves, and I do agree with you completely, that sometimes the devil, other people that don't mean you any good, can see that greatness in you. And when they see it, it's like, let me stuff it out. And somebody that I was talking to just recently, I was listening to, said to me, things don't happen to me, they happen for me. So when stuff happens in your life, it's like, okay, this is happening for me so I can have a testimony later on. This is just a test for my testimony. So when it's happening for you, it's to give you some words, some wisdom, some advice to help somebody else along the way. So yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When we see what's going on, see how things are happening, we know that God is just using us. We may feel at that time, I don't know, I'm talking to somebody out there. Right now, you feel like, I cannot do this. I know I used to pray and I have conversation with God like he my daddy, because he is. And I would say, Lord, and now I know this is just a test, but I'm about to fail this test. So I need you to help me pass this test. I need you to help me move forward. And there's somebody out there that's going through something right now and they're feeling like, I just can't do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Don't allow that negative talk to go in there. Reframe it. Ask, okay, God, how do I make it through this? What do I need to do next? How do I handle this? I know greater is in me than it is in the world. It's like, I know that you won't put more on me than I can bear. I know that you got my back. I know that you're going to take care of me. So yes, I believe that God has something big planned. And if I'm confessing again, it is scary. It's scary when you know and you realize that, ooh, God has some big plan, but I am going to continue to walk by faith and keep moving forward because he has something that he wants me to do and he wants me to share with somebody. So go ahead.
Right. And before we go to our next segment, our last segment, that is, I prayed this prayer, like I would say yesterday or the day before. I said, God, I need you to release that hustle within me. I said, if you called me to do what you called me to do, that means that there has to be hustle within me. So that means that there's something. So God, I need you to release that. And in order for, like when you think about the calling, think about where you have to go and what it takes to get there. That means, because God wouldn't call you if he didn't think you can do it. He knows that it's in you. You just don't know it yet. So I asked God, I said, God, just release that hustle within me, release that good work ethic. Even though this week I wasn't feeling that well and just kind of feeling down in my body, I said, God, help me to keep going. Even when I'm feeling down in my body, but that I'll still keep going and get those things out. Because I keep thinking about those times when I don't release an episode, those times when I don't get my stuff done or don't say what I have to say. Somebody's life can be lost because of that. And I know that's very harsh to think about, but there are people who, just by your words, just by us saying what we're saying right now, we could have just saved a life. And it may be somebody who you would have never thought of, like, oh, they're fine. Or maybe someone we don't even know, but they hear those words and they realize, wow, okay, there's a reason for me to live. Let me try one more day. I know that was for me. For me, during those times, I was hanging on those words of other people, hanging on the testimonies of other people to keep going. And I had to hang on the testimony of my parents. Like, if they keep talking about this God, I had to keep going to church. I had to keep doing all this stuff. That means there must be something great about him and he must have some type of power. So I want to make sure that we get to those people. So before we go, can you give us something, give us a piece of advice for those people out there who may be struggling or whatever? What are you going to leave them with today?
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave you with this. When the spotlight dies and you start to wonder, where are my supporters? Why am I doing this? Is this what I'm really supposed to do? Remember, it is not about you. Mm-hmm. It's about what God has assigned you to do. And we have to be obedient to what it is that he says for us to do. If we keep running, we're going to end up like Jonah in the whale. If we keep running, we may never, ever accomplish what it is that God has for us. And if we're not doing what he wants us to do, we could be missing somebody. Just like Destiny said, there is somebody out there that needs to hear what it is that you're saying. And if you haven't been running, I want you to do this. Give yourself grace. Forgive yourself. It's okay. Okay, Lord, I slipped up a little bit. I didn't do what I was supposed to do, but I'm back on track. Get back on track. It is so much easier when you have people cheering you on, when you have people that's by your side and responding, giving you testimonials and sharing your information. It's easy to move then. But when you're in a place where you feel like, oh, I'm by myself, that's when you have to make sure that you are tuning back into what it is that God has assigned for you to do. Remember your why on what it is that you're supposed to be doing and your purpose. And I want you all to just remember, if you're in a place where you feel like it's dark, God created us to shine. He did not create us to dim. And what I want you to do is follow my shine framework. Get out there and start. S, showing up fully. H, honoring your gifts and your talent. I, invest in yourself. Whatever it is that you need to do, invest in yourself. N, network with like-minded people. And E, remember to embrace your brilliance, because that is what you were created for, to shine. And if you want to learn more about me and follow me, you can do that on Instagram or Facebook. I am Sabrina Shine Williams, and I want you guys to remember, you will get over this because you were created to shine. Just keep going. Don't quit.
Yes, I love that. So basically, remember the why. Remember the why. Why are you there? Why are you doing this? Why did God call you? Why do you need to do this anyway in the first place? You have to go back to that. And I think that's something that I had to do, something you had to do. And we all need to do from time to time. Those times where you're like, I don't feel like it. Why am I doing this again? Okay, that's why. Okay, let's get back to it. And you realize you start to get motivated, and you start to feel more uplifting in spirits and stuff. So I think that's important. We're getting to the end of this episode. This episode, I know it has blessed somebody, because it blessed me and it helped me during this time. And I know it's probably helped Sabrina. So I think this is amazing. And I'm so happy that you are here. She has already shared her information, Sabrina Shine Williams. I'm going to make sure that I have all of her information in the show notes. And you can also see it on our, on our, my social media. You'll see her as well. As y'all can see, her granddaughter's here. Isn't she adorable? Hi.
Tell everybody hi, Daya. No.
Oh, I guess not. Okay.
Real life, she just walking in. I'm doing Gigi duties.
Yes, but sometimes you can, but I'm gonna have it on the social media. You all can see all of her information. You all can go and follow her as well, to make sure that you support her and support what she's doing. And she may not call it this, but it is a ministry when you think about it. No one ever wants to call it that, because it's like, oh, it sounds like a church, but it is. You're getting other people. So I think that's amazing. Did you want to say anything else before we go?
No, just thank you guys. Thank you. And I want you to remember, like she said, remember your why, know why you're doing this, and make sure that you just keep moving forward, no matter what.
Yes, as always, move forward. I love it. Thank you all so much for joining us today on the Destined Life podcast. Please make sure that you subscribe to the podcast itself on the Podbean app or on Audible, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcasts. You can also go in there as well. Make sure that you subscribe to the Destined Life YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, and also like us on Facebook. I'm so happy that you are here. And as always, choose today to live your best life. And that's the Destined Life. God bless. I'm your host, Destiny Harris, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye, everybody.